We'll begin the trivet with the magic loop. The magic loop is made by taking the short end of your rope, wrapping it around index and middle finger once, and then twice. Again, the working end of your rope will be facing away and the short tail will be facing you. Then with the crochet hook, you'll loop under, over, pull it through, and then return to pick up the working cord and through the loop. Next, you'll chain one, and then we'll start to place our single crochets into the magic loop. The single crochet is with one loop on the hook, because in crochet we always have one loop on the hook. We're going to go in through the magic loop, pick up the yarn, and pull it through. Now there's two on the hook. Pick up the yarn again, and you'll pull it through both at once. You're going to do that 7 times. Again, single crochet by going through the loop, pick up the yarn. Now you have 2 on the hook, and you'll pull the yarn again, yarn over and pull through both at once. 1 and 2, oops. There we go. Single crochet, and I'll do this 7 times, which will make a total of 8 stitches into the center, because the first magic loop stitch with the single crochet will count as 1 stitch. And because the rope is big, it's a girthier material, might require a little more dexterity than when using yarn, but the rope is great for a trivet because it's nice and thick and will protect surfaces from hot pops. So I can count my stitches to see how many are on here already. I can see 1, it's these V's, these V shapes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be 7. And this will be 8. And I conclude round 1 by simply chaining into this first stitch where I started, pulling through the tightest stitch on the round, pulling through that first stitch, pulling through the stitch on the hook, and tightening the center ring as much as I can. And that completes round 1. To begin round 2, you will chain up, and that simply means that we make 1 chain stitch to get us to the height of a single crochet stitch. So now, up at this height, I can chain into my first stitch here, and it's going to be another single crochet stitch into the first stitch, which as you can see is right here. I'll yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, and then pull it through the 2 stitches on the hook. Now, this is an increase round, as all subsequent rounds will be, and on the first increase round, I'm going to make a single crochet stitch into the same stitch that I just made one in. So I'll go back through, and again, with the yarn being rope instead of actual yarn, you're gonna have to push and pull a little bit, but you should be able to get it easily enough. So that's 2 single crochet stitches into the first stitch. This is the second stitch on the previous round, and I'm also going to make 2 stitches into this stitch. So again, single crochet through this stitch by pulling the yarn through, yarn over again, and then pull through both. Whoops. Go through again for an increase, making 2 out of 1. You are going to increase into every stitch, meaning you will put 2 stitches into 1 stitch on every stitch until you get back to the beginning. If you would like, it makes it a lot easier to understand where you started. So I can see these are my 2 increases here and here, and this is where I started. If it's helpful to you, you can use a stitch marker to know where your round began so that you know where to conclude your round. So there's the stitch marker. I'm going to continue to put 2 stitches in each until I get to the stitch marker. So I've reached the end of the round, and I can tell because I'm back at my marker and I can count. And on the subsequent round on the previous round there were 8 stitches, so on this round there should be 16. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I did it right. I increased 2 in each, doubled my stitches. I removed the stitch marker, and I'm ready for the next round. All right, we're on to round 3, and just like when we got to the end of round 2, I will chain into my first stitch of the round. I've already taken off my stitch marker. I will pull it all the way through, the stitch on the hook, and chain up, just 1. And that gives me the height I need to get into the next stitch. Keep the stitch marker close because I'm going to put that on in just a second. So this, in crochet, this will always count as your first stitch. So I'll go on to the next stitch. And so it'll be, the increase pattern on this round will be make 1 crochet stitch, 1 single crochet, make 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet and 2, meaning you'll increase every other stitch. So this stitch, I'm going to put 2 single crochet into, like so. So there's my increase. This is where I started. I'll go ahead and put my marker on so I don't forget where I started. I'm gonna put, because I put 2 here, I put 1 here. Two and then 1. So this is going to be a 2. And you'll alternate like that to the end of the round. Two, 1, 2, this will be 1. I'm going to complete my round. You can pause the video now so that you can work your increase round, and I'll meet you back at the end. So this is the fourth and final round of this trivet. I just finished my last stitch in the third round, and I'm going to close the round. I've removed the marker already, as you can see. I'll close the round by chaining in and pulling through. It's just one chain, it's not a single crochet. And then with that stitch on the hook, I chain up to begin the round. Again, should be familiar by now. I'll go ahead and place the marker now so I don't forget where I started. And for the pattern of increases on the final row, on the fourth row, as you can see, if you look closely, there's 2 stitches in this stitch. That indicates to me that I will put 2 stitches here. So I'll start by increasing by making 2 single crochets into this stitch. So here's 1. And 2. Okay. And then I'll do a single crochet and another single crochet. So rather than skipping 1, like on this round, I'll skip 2. Not skip, but I'll skip increases basically. So I'll just do singles. So the increases are 2 stitches apart. You can think about it like that. There's a way to see the increases on the row below, and that will help you know where they go. And you can kind of see right here, there's 2 stitches in this one. There's only 1 stitch in this one. Your increases will always land right above the increase in the row below. So if you can actually see where your increases go, that's an easy way to know where they go. But if you can't, if you have a hard time picking out where your increases were on the previous row, you can always just count. So I can see that I have 2 increases here, and then skip, skip, and then put my second increase here. The next 2 stitches will be singles, single crochet, followed by an increase of 2 single crochets. That's how the pattern will go for the rest. If you wanted to make your trivet a little wider, longer, whatever, the next increase row would be 2 and 1, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 2 and 1. So increasing by a value of 1 between increases. For this pattern, it's just going to be this. I'm going to finish this row, and you can meet me at the end. I'm at the end of my rope, and I'm also at the end of this round, and I'm going to remove my marker. This is where I started, so this is where I will end by pulling this last stitch through and closing the round. And I'll do that by pulling this all the way through this time and get the crochet hook out of the way. And the last thing to do is just weave the ends in. This is a bit freestyle. You just pull it sort of in and out. I like to go along the perimeter, but you could also sort of shove it in. It disappears within itself. You can do the same thing with this rope just by weaving in the ends in and out. And there you have it. It's a beautiful trivet for a hot pot or a teapot or whatever you so desire.